Hello, and welcome to Zen Talks, where we trade the day's hustle for a brief moment of reflection. Join us as we explore meaningful thoughts, unwind, and connect in a peaceful environment. Tune in for a brief escape from the chaos of the world and discover a sense of calm and clarity with each episode. Let's step back, breathe, and find our inner peace together on Zen Talks. Hello, and welcome to Zen Talks, where we trade the day's hustle for a brief moment of reflection. Let's slow down, take a deep breath, and explore the depths of personal growth and well-being. I'm your host, Zen. Tonight's topic is something we all face at some point: how to handle difficult conversations with grace and emotional intelligence. Whether it's a tough talk with a friend, family member, colleague, or partner, these moments can challenge even the calmest of us. But with a bit of mindfulness and preparation, you can navigate them in a way that leaves both sides feeling heard and respected. Now I've got to share what's in my cup tonight: blueberry sage tea. This tea is not just delicious, it's packed with benefits. Blueberries are loaded with antioxidants, which help fight inflammation, and sage is known for boosting memory and focus. So not only am I relaxing, but I'm also giving my brain a little extra support. The flavor is this perfect balance of sweet blueberry with that subtle earthy hint from the sage. Honestly, it's like sipping clarity in a cup. If you're in the mood to try something new, I highly recommend it. And if tea is not your thing and you need something a little stronger, remember, I won't judge. So grab your drink of choice and let's get into it. So how do we manage those tough conversations without losing our cool or feeling overwhelmed? Zen is giving you 5 tips on how to deal with it. One of the biggest mistakes we make when facing a difficult conversation is reacting too quickly. When emotions are high, our first response might be defensive or emotional, and that can derail a productive conversation. The key is to pause. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself a moment to process what's been said before you respond. In that brief pause, you can gather your thoughts, let your emotions settle, and approach the situation with more clarity. Zen's tip number 1. If you feel yourself getting worked up, count to 5 in your head. Use that time to consider whether your response will add to the conversation or escalate the situation. Next, listening is an underrated skill when it comes to handling difficult conversations with grace. Often when we're upset, we focus more on defending ourselves or getting our point across. But real connection comes from listening. And I don't mean just hearing the words, but truly listening to understand. Active listening means giving the other person your full attention, making eye contact, nodding to show you're engaged, and not interrupting. It's about letting them know you care about their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Which brings us to Zen's tip number 2. While the other person is talking, instead of preparing your rebuttal, focus on understanding their feelings and motivations. Ask clarifying questions if needed, like, can you tell me more about why you feel that way? This shows that you're invested in what they have to say. Handling a tough conversation with grace is impossible if you let your emotions run the show. Emotional intelligence is about self awareness, knowing when you're feeling triggered and then choosing how to respond. If you feel anger rising or frustration building, acknowledge it internally. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean you ignore your feelings, but that you manage them in a way that keeps the conversation productive. So on to Zen's tip number 3. Use I statements rather than you statements. Instead of saying, you always do this, try saying, I feel upset when this happens. It shifts the focus from blaming the other person to expressing how you feel, which is less likely to make the other person defensive. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to win the conversation, but that's not the goal. The real win comes from reaching a mutual understanding or compromise. Seek resolution, not domination. In difficult conversations, especially with loved ones or colleagues, Maintaining the relationship is more important than proving you're right. A good way to keep this in mind is to ask yourself, what's more important, being right or being heard? Zen's tip number 4. When things get tense, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Ask, what outcome am I hoping for here? Is this conversation building the relationship or tearing it down? This shift in perspective can help you stay calm and focus on the real goal. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a break. If a conversation is spiraling, or if you find yourself or the other person too emotional to communicate effectively, it's okay to step away and revisit the conversation later. Grace doesn't mean forcing your way through a conversation that's no longer productive. It's knowing when to pause and return with a clearer head. Zen's tip number 5. If you need to take a break, be honest. Say something like, I feel like this conversation is getting too heated. Can we take a break and come back to it later? Giving yourself and the other person space to cool off can make all the difference. Navigating difficult conversations with grace and emotional intelligence isn't about having the perfect words or always staying calm. It's about being present, managing your emotions, and aiming for connection over conflict. We won't always get it right, but the more we practice these strategies, the better we'll become at handling these moments with care and understanding. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to grow, not just individually, but in our relationships too. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on Zen Talks. I hope these tips help you navigate your next tough conversation with a little more ease. And join me next time as I talk about setting healthy boundaries without guilt. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. After all, it's your support that helps us grow and reach more listeners. If you want to know more about me, Zen, you can follow me on Facebook as Zenja Bloomfield and Instagram at I am Zenja. And by the way, stop by Sister Pamela Publishing and purchase my latest book, Becoming a Thyself Woman, along with other great titles. Again, that's sisterpamelapublishing.com, sisterpamelapublishing.com. Until next time, keep sipping your favorite drink, stay grounded, stay peaceful, and stay zen.